Well, it's a simple story, but my dad was a graduate of Northwestern Medical School in 1905 and set up his practice in Verdon, Nebraska, which is a small town. Told me to go do something else. He thought maybe I ought to go be a dentist instead of a doctor.
Deciding to go into medicine, it was an easy decision for me because I knew that what I had seen my father do and the satisfaction he derived from that, and there was just this peace that he always had that he was doing the right thing.
I had an aunt who was 10 years older than me, and when she went to be a nurse, I thought, I want to be a nurse too. What I loved about nursing, still do, is the patient contact and just watching someone get well, knowing you had a part in that.
I had always been fascinated by healthcare, by medicine. And I had a friend suggest, well, had I ever considered medical technology? As I learned more about it, I decided, well, maybe that would fit my interests.
Well, I was born on a farm by Columbus here. According to my dad, my mom gets the credit because she bought me a doctor's kit when I was little. My whole goal was to be a doctor. My whole goal was to be a general surgeon. Everybody said, where are you going? I had a few offers to do some other things, and I said, I'm on a one-track guy. I'm coming back to Columbus, Nebraska.
So yeah, where we are right now, interestingly, is exactly where my father built his practice in 1953.
Well, there were three of us, Dr. Theodore Lemke and Dr. Warren Miller, and we sat together alphabetically in row at most of the lectures and stuff in med school. On the side, we talked about what we would like to do, and we decided we'd like to start a group practice someplace.
Three partners came out, kind of sight unseen, and decided to practice in Columbus, Nebraska, because they thought it looked like a good community to practice in. They bought this lot with their GI Bills, all $21,000, I think they pooled together, and they put up the four walls.
Some of the older doctors in town were a little negative, but they didn't mind saying, well, you'll never make it. But we sat around long enough, we made it. So.
I came here in 1956. Well, there were two hospitals in Columbus. St. Mary's was a Catholic hospital owned and operated by the Sisters of St. Francis of Colorado Springs, and Baylen Memorial Hospital, owned and operated by the Lutheran Hospital and Home Society, Fargo, North Dakota.
Division in a small town from a medical care is not a good thing. It doesn't make for harmony in delivering medicine.
Really, Columbus couldn't support two hospitals and have them be prosperous. And they came up with the idea of a single community hospital, owned and operated by the community.
And in 1972, the St. Mary's Hospital and the Baylen Community Hospital merged.
I came right after the merger. I can remember go down to the cafeteria, and the St. Mary's staff would sit at one table, and the Lutheran staff would sit at the other table, and they would hardly talk to each other. Eventually, I'd say within 5 years, everybody got along really well.
We operated under the name of the Baylen Memorial Hospital for the first few years, and I think it was about 1975 that the Baylen family had the idea of changing the name from Baylen Memorial Hospital to Columbus Community Hospital. An important thing, because it truly established that this was a community hospital, and it was being operated for the benefit of the community. And the community was not just Columbus, it was Columbus and the surrounding environs.
In the end, the community benefited. It was a great move on the part of everybody that was involved in that. And it laid the groundwork for our current hospital complex. The new hospital was built under the direction of Don Zorns, who was administrator at the time.
At that time, Columbus was a real dynamic town because of all the industry, and one of our major goals was to recruit more physicians and specialists.
So when Don Zorns came in, might have been early 80s, late 70s, lots of things changed. There were a lot of new equipment purchased, a lot of different departments opened up, and the hospital just continued to grow. And then Don Zorn's looking into the future and opportunity for growth, headed up the building of a new facility.
I finally woke up and it hit me between the eyes. You're recruiting these folks. There's no groups for them to join because they're specialists. We've got to have a place for these people to set up shop. All of a sudden the term came out. I wonder if we shouldn't look at abandonment and starting over somewhere.
I remember thinking, wow, that's just such a bizarre concept. You can't move from this place it's been. But then as I saw things come together from that perspective, it made good sense.
To be honest with you, when they purchased this land, I mean, it was just kind of joke. The staff was like, that's swamp ground. What are they doing?
This was a swamp. This was a cornfield that most of the time was underwater because it was a very low land.
Everybody was going, oh, the hospital's being built clear out there.
It was probably one of the best decisions that was ever made. I call it the field of streams.
It was amazing when they made that commitment to come out here and start building. It developed 38th Street, and now you drive up and down 38th Street, and you wouldn't think that in just my little old lifetime that this was just a little old country road in the middle of nowhere.
It just really gave us the ability to be able to expand and grow. That couldn't have happened where it was downtown.
They built it, and it's a wonderful place, and they're expanding continuously. So he had great forethought and good leadership.
As a whole, the medical staff in those early days was the key factor because medical staffs, without too much effort, can make or break you. And this group that we had was very supportive of trying to make this a bigger and better healthcare system for the community.
All of the steps that they've made have been really positive direction.
More modern equipment. Emergency room, of course, is there 24 hours a day, so it's something that wasn't existent before.
The hospital is staying on top of all the latest technologies, which makes it so much easier for us as a physician to give the quality care that we want to give to our patients.
It means when they're sick that they don't have to go out of town and travel an hour and a half. We're a full-service acute care hospital, and we can keep our people here close to home.
Where originally it was the community bonding together to support the hospital has been so successful, it's now providing leadership to the community.
The hospital's been very supportive of community events, building the wellness center with the YMCA.
They have so many outreaching things. They have hospice, they have visiting nurses. We're in it for the whole picture of community wellness.
They realize that the health of the community, the wellness of the community is going to be the future.
I was thrilled when I learned that they were going to be building a child care center because there are an awful lot of mothers that go to work there every day. And what a blessing to be able to have a place you know that your kids are going to be well taken care of.
I look back to St. Mary's and then Bayland and then now this new hospital, and they all kind of fit with that, where there's this core caretaking part of the hospital. And even though technology has changed, the key is that the personnel and the people that deliver the care. You know, that's, I think, always the difference maker.
Just very personal, compassionate care. I stack them against in any hospital.
My dad, one of his favorite lines, it's a very simple line, but he'd say, "How you doing?" But he really wanted to know, you know, I mean, he really wanted to know how you were doing. I get a little emotional when I talk about it because he's, yeah, I mean, I think he would be very, very proud.
This hospital is here for the long run and can sustain a lot of growth and just continue for many more years.
You know, I'm pretty proud of the fact that this place is here and looks like it does still after, 15 years.
We have over 700 employees. We have about 150 physicians, close to 300 volunteers. As we look into the future, there's still more to do.
I hope that as we get bigger, as we are, that we don't lose that hometown hospital aspect that I think is a plus over what a big town city can offer you. I like walking up and down the halls of this place. Everybody thinks the doctor's the most important person in this facility, and that's not true. It starts with the janitors, the security, the nurses, it's everybody.
And it's important that they all do their jobs to the best of their ability. Because ultimately, that's the hospital.